Hello, my name is Dale Wilhite. I'm right now living in Alpine, Wyoming. If you want to find out anything about me, go to Facebook, Twitter, or MySpace where I have accounts. What I'm calling for here, and I've written about this before and made other videos about this before, and I've even written in foreign newspapers about this, including a few American newspapers, is that we need a constitutional amendment that will forbid any American president, any member of Congress, or the military from ever surrendering 1 square inch of American territory to any foreign power. That would include especially the UN and the EEC, but it also applies to the Islamic terrorists. Remember, one of their goals is to fly the Islamic flag over the White House. They would like to replace the American flag with the Islamic flag. One of their goals is to, much like the Vatican, is to convert the world to Islam, to wipe out all other religions, to kill all Jews, exterminate the Christians, of course, and by force or by persuasion or by flattery to convert everybody to Islam. That's what their goal is. Unfortunately, we have a bunch of morons at CNN and MSNBC that haven't quite figured that out yet. They still think that that Islam is a religion of peace. Well, they haven't bothered to read the Quran very well. Of course, I believe that most people of Islam are peaceful, but unfortunately, the Quran teaches a lot of things that's in there that teaches violence, hate, murder, and just pure evil. And unfortunately, the radicals have seized upon that, and fortunately, the moderates and the, I'd say, liberal Islamic person has not. But nonetheless, their goal is to have an Islamic world. And even if that means starting World War III, like the Iranians would love to see World War III start, because they believe it will usher in a one world that's where Islam dominates and there is no other religion. We face the possibility that terrorists will get nukes into the United States, either through the southern borders or by ship. Remember, there are a lot of briefcase and suitcase nukes missing out of the old Soviet Empire, Soviet Union, and they haven't been located. If our government knows where they're at, they're not telling us. But nonetheless, these terrorists, Islamic terrorists, are going to try to get into the United States, and they could eventually hold our country hostage by threatening to detonate these nukes unless we surrender. And at that time, it wouldn't surprise me if the Iranian government, would stand up and say, yeah, we're behind it. You either surrender to us or those nukes will be detonated. You may be able to destroy us with our nukes, but you will die too. I'm the type of person who believes that we could never surrender. We should never surrender to any foreign power, even if it means that we all die. I'm kind of take the cue from those at Masada who chose to commit suicide rather than surrender to the Romans. And of course, this was a long time ago. We Americans, true Americans, would take the same stand. We would never surrender our nation to anybody, and we would rather die than live under the Islamic flag or under the UN flag or under any other flag. Either, like Patrick Henry said, give me liberty or give me death. Which is it? To me, death is better than living under an Islamic flag or the flag of any foreign power. I'm an American, and I will die an American. I will not live under some foreign power. The other threat that we face is just recently memos from the UN conference where I call them henchmen and thugs, were meeting, and one of their goals is to figure out how to supersede the constitutions and the sovereignty of the nations of the world, including the United States. They still seek to rule the world. Although I don't believe that's where the world government will come from. I believe it will come from the EEC. That's another threat that we have. We have to have a constitutional amendment that makes it quite clear, and it would be added into it, into the amendment, that we cannot allow any nation, including the UN, to gain any foothold over our sovereignty or our constitution. And that right now is what they're trying to do. We need to have a national discussion about this. We need to decide and find out where everybody stands on these issues. Because it's going to be shocking to a lot of people that how many of them will say, well, we'll just take the Islamic flag. If they threaten us with nuclear weapons, rather than letting millions die, we'll just surrender. It won't. Don't be surprised at who comes out and says surrender. Don't be surprised at how many come out and say, well, if the UN, if it's in our best interest, maybe we should let the UN have control of our sovereignty. It's amazing at how many people are more and more talking about giving up our sovereignty to the UN. And they're in government and in Hollywood and in the media. I'm sure to MSNBC, they'll be more than happy to turn over our sovereignty to the UN. The ACLU certainly wouldn't mind. Because the ACLU doesn't believe America has a right to its sovereignty. That's their words, not mine. That's a discussion that we need to be having now. Because it isn't a matter of when these Islamic terrorists get nukes into our country. It's just a matter of, well, I guess it is when. And where. And I believe they will do so probably within our lifetime. That's their goal. Their goal is to hang the Islamic flag over Washington. The UN would like to put the UN flag over Washington as well, and the rest of the world if they could do so. We need to deal with this now. And unfortunately, no one in the media, no one in government is taking this subject up. They need to do so now. That's all I'm saying. We are in greater danger than we realize or anybody wants to admit. And we need to protect our sovereignty and our Constitution, and we need to decide which do we want to do, or what do we want to do. Would we want to surrender, or would we all rather die? That means even nuking our own country to keep the UN or Islamic terrorists from getting the spoils of America, because that's what they want. They will, remember, as far as the UN's concerned, they want to redistribute wealth too. They want to come in here and take our wealth and to redistribute it throughout the world, something Obama's trying to do. But he may have just been derailed next month, maybe the beginning of the end of his attempt to do that. But, as cunning as he is, and by anti-American as he comes across, to me at least, it wouldn't surprise me if he tries to find another way to do this. And that puts us all in danger. It's really scary, the people that are in charge. But we have to face the reality that we could find ourselves under a nuclear blackmail. We could find ourselves under the control of the UN and people in our own government willing to give away our sovereignty. And we need to deal with these subjects now. Thank you for your time. I'm just trying to send you a warning. I've been writing about this for a long time. And little by little, it's beginning to take shape. And people better wake up. Thank you for your time. Bye.